question. Are you one of those people that are a bad communicator or you think there is room for improvement? I mean, are you that type of person that interrupts a lot or says, don't take this personal, but, or do you kind of talk about, to play devil's advocate? I hate that stuff. Um, are you just struggling with your communication technique? Well, I have a couple of tips and tricks that I think will help you become a clearer communicator so that you can get your point across quickly and succinctly. Hey team, welcome to Everyday Career Coach. I am Career Coach Mo, helping you find the best strategy for your career trajectory. And today it's all about how to improve your communication skills. I mean, learning effective communication skills, it's a game changer because it helps you to express yourself better. It helps you to get your point across in the most clear and impactful way. And when you get better at communicating, you actually get better at listening and understanding how to communicate, right? You're not just listening to respond, but you're listening to understand. And that all fits into becoming a more effective communicator. So, I want to give you some quick tips and tricks on what you can do to implement so that you can go from struggling in this area to prospering and being better and more professional in this area. So, the first tip is all about improving your tone phonetically and in written form. And I don't think enough people really think about how they express themselves and how they come across via the tone of their voice. Because sometimes when you're using certain tones, there could be some misunderstandings that kind of come out of that, which you didn't mean, but you were just kind of being forceful because you think change your tone makes more of an impact. But it's not necessarily the tone you use that you should be worried about, it's about the words that you're using. Also, who has received a very terse email and you're like, I don't even understand where this is coming from? And then when you kind of go back and you're a little terse yourself, they're like, what? No, that's not what I was asking. Or I don't understand why you're responding that way. Why are you so aggressive and stuff like that? And so there's a lot of misunderstandings because people usually read emails in the tone that they think it's coming across and not what is actually coming across. So those are two things that you have to pay attention to. When you are speaking, you have to understand that once you start getting the eyebrow twitching and the voice going a little bit deeper or whatever, you can come across aggressively. And I'm not saying that there is no place for aggressive tones because believe me, if somebody's coming up to me and they are pursuing me and annoying me at work, you got to put a little aggression in that voice so they can kind of back up. But that's not what you want to do consistently or all the time in a professional environment. So it is very important that you notice when people are interacting with you in a negative way when you're just trying to become clear. Is it because of your tone of voice? And so, how can you see if that's the case? Practice makes perfect. So, one of the things that you need to start doing is talking to your advisory circle and explaining the situation that for some reason you keep coming across the wrong way. Can we do some type of role playing? Can I talk to you about a situation that I've been in? And then you have to be open to the feedback and the criticism, because the criticism is a criticism that is going to help you get better. But you have to realize that sometimes it's not the other people, sometimes it's you and how you're saying certain things. And so, kind of taking the time to figure out, is that always or literally the case, so that you can be more aware of it. When it comes to the email tones, you gotta read back every email before you send it. Like, you have to. I don't know how many people who I get emails and they don't complete their sentences or their thoughts. Like, they start the thought in the mind and then only put it halfway down in an email. I'm like, I missed the whole front part of what you're thinking about because you kept it here and it didn't come here. So always read back every email before you send it. And also, never send an email when you're upset. I received an email a couple of days ago and I took a pause because I felt like the tone was terse And it could have been terse, but my thing was I reading into that wrong or whatever? So I decided not to respond, and I didn't respond to that email for a couple of days, and then I spoke to that person on. We had a conference call that came up, and I said, "Hey, you sent me an email on such and such. Did you want to clarify anything further?" And they did, and there wasn't any terseness to their tone or anything out of whack. And so I realized it was me, and so that was a good lesson that I continue to engage with, is that if something you think is coming across aggressive, to pause, let it sit there. Everything doesn't need an instant response, but be very careful and very clear about how you want to continue to come across professionally. And sometimes you have to take a step back before you respond. Also, it's not necessary for you to send very aggressive emails. I understand if you want to track everything in a written form, but you want to be professional whenever you send an email. And if there is a misunderstanding, it is best to talk that out. It is not best to respond in an aggressive way via the email. It just gets out of whack, and then it just snowballs into something that's unnecessary. So if you feel like there is a negative misunderstanding, call the person, have a conversation, video conference the person, get it all cleared and out, so then you can move on from it. Next thing is to be very clear and succinct when you're responding to things, and that's whether it's in a verbal form or in a written form. Do not ramble on. People tune out really clearly, and quickly on things. And I mean, you can be saying a really important point, but if you're not getting to the point, and we got to go all around Main Ave, downtown, all this other kind of avenues before you get to the point, people are going to tune out. They're going to start thinking about their dog, what they want to eat, what happened with their relationship, and it's just going to kind of take away from them listening to you. Because don't you hate it when you're saying certain things that you know you've covered, and then someone asks a question that you covered because they tuned out and you were rambling on and they didn't get it? So this is the framework of how you should respond to things. It's three things that's going to help you be more succinct than you've ever been. One of them is just creating what it is you're trying to say. So what is the what? What is the so what? And what is the now what? What? So what? Now what? Your responses should be placed in those three buckets, hopefully in a very clear and short way. You can answer the what, the so what, now what, and that's how you become a much more impactful and clear and succinct communicator. I know a lot of people like to really give context around things and really get in deep, and starting from your childhood and moving on up to other things. And in the work environment, just a lot of people just don't got time for all that. So let's be conscious of people's time, and get our point across so we can get the answers that we need so we can move on, do what we need to do, get our work done, and go home. So your communication framework is the what, so what, now what, and start implementing that today. And now for the last tip on how to be a better communicator is tailoring your message to the person you are speaking to. There are definitely people who need more context, less context than others. And you have to kind of get to know who you're talking to and what their needs are. There's people on my team members where I definitely have to give a little bit of context around certain decisions to make them feel part of the process, the decision making, to give more of an understanding on a decision that was made that they might not agree with. So, am I going to ramble on about it? No, but am I going to give a bit more meat to that topic and getting that main point across? Absolutely. And then there's some people who, they just want to know what they need to do to get through their day. They don't need all of that extra stuff. And you are going to communicate with them with just basically kind of sharing what those needs are and letting them go about their business to accomplish those needs. So, not everybody works in the same way that you work. Not everybody thinks in the same way that you think. So, you do have to kind of understand what their comprehension style is, and then tailor your communication to that. So there's just three things that you need to do. That you need to map out your main points with them. You need to share what those challenges are and very clear solutions, and you need to use examples to bring the point to life. So always thinking about, do I have to map this out for this person or I don't? Do I have to share some of the challenges and why we're choosing the solutions or I don't? Do I need to use examples for them to really understand, or they're just going to get it by me just telling them? You really have to think about that with maybe not every single interaction, but those important ones you do, as well as the ones where you know if you are not clear in your communication, all hell will break loose, because there are certain people where you know they'll just go down a rabbit hole if there isn't clarity, and why take on that stress if you don't have to. So my thing is, I get to try to understand that person, understand the type of relationship that we have, and I try to tailor my communication style to fit their comprehension style. So that's about it from me. As you can see, communication clearly is one of the most important skills that can help you to become an effective leader and to create a very positive perception of yourself in the work environment. So remember to always figure out a way to communicate succinctly, leave all that big storytelling out in the dust if you can. Listen very carefully so that you're about to respond to what is needed, instead of you just making up something just so you can have a quick response. Remember the what, so what now what way of responding, and always tailoring your message to the person and their comprehension style. Hopefully, this has been a couple of helpful tips. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe. And I truly hope I earned your like today. And if I didn't, you'll come back and give me another chance. And I look forward to sharing some more tips in the next video.